Okay, so who's going to run the business?
That's not very smart of you.
No, I'm asking a question. It's who's going to run the business.
I see you now, and I'm not going to stay in this conversation. You are assumptuous, presumptuous, and you're rude.
All right. Who's bringing in the money? The dollars and cents. At the end of the day, who brought the dollars in? Who brought the money in? He did. Okay. But you did the work. You brought the work, right?
Yes. Because that's my part of the work. That's my share.
Exactly. And then you resent him for letting himself go. That's what you're telling me. You said he
can't let himself go just because you have money.
I agree. I agree. I'm not against you on this. What I'm saying is, what is it that you really want? Right?
Mm-hmm.
And I'm thinking of how to ask this question because I don't want you to think I'm rude, but I also want you to listen to what you're saying, right? So this is what this sounds like to me. Okay. I'm an outsider, have no skin in the game, have no desire. My goal is to give you exposure. So hopefully after this conversation, you can have somebody who is of the right caliber of man, who has the interest, that will reach out to you and say, hey, I'm interested. I want to have something with this person. But in the same breath, it's also important to have full transparency on who we are as people, right? That's the idea behind all of this. And that's why these questions are being asked. So then that's why I'm saying, if you are coming into a situation where you meet a man who made a move to be with you, right? Left what was comfort for him, and created a savings that he was looking at as an investment. Because you said he's 19 years older than you. If I had to do the math, 36, 19 is what? 55, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, 55 Correct. Years old. So at 55, a 55-year-old male who is going to come into he's coming into a retirement part of his life, right? So things happen that I'm going to kind of break down to you here. Remember, I said we're still going to talk about the preview. We're still going to go back to the beginning of how the genesis of this conversation, but I want to break something down to you. You're 36. At 50, that's 14 years from now. I don't care how great your body is at 36. You're going to experience a change in your physical body at 50.
Yes, I understand.
This guy's 5 years older than that. Let that sink in, man. He's 5 years older than that, and you are punishing him because he allowed his body to make adjustments because he didn't have as much vitality, right? Because that's what that is. It's life and it's the energy and the vitality a man has that allows him to say, I'm going to go and do all of this. To run a business, he didn't have the vitality of a young man, but he had the money that you wanted, right? And you punished him for it. So what ended up happening is not only did you start to see, well, this package that I thought, like I said in the beginning, the package came and it wasn't what you expected. Right? You had this idea based on the conversations you had over 2 years that this is going to come in and you were going to get this. And when that package showed up, it was a different thing in the box. So what you now ended up getting was you got someone who was in the later part of their life who thought, I'm meeting a 36-year-old woman. She's younger. She's not in her 20s, because a woman in her 20s is probably thinking, hey, daddy, take me to the club, right? Let's go and let's go, like do all this stuff. And he's like, nah, I'm kind of past that point, right? I want to now have somebody who's more level-headed, who probably thinks more of a long-term. But instead what he got was someone who said, man, the way you breathe pisses me off. I hate to put it, but that's really what it sounded like, man. I mean,
it does.
Yeah,
And
it
like,
got to the point where you got so frustrated with literally everything, because everything I've heard from this situation is how this person wasn't right for you. But it wasn't that he wasn't right for you. It was when he arrived, you got something you didn't expect. Unfortunately, that's 99% of men. What you're asking for is 0.0001. So now let me ask you this. This is where the rubber meets the road. Are you willing for him to fuck other women?
no.
Ooh.
No.
How? You want 0.01% of man. You want the man who makes a lot of money, who is not going to let you get him frustrated, who is going to allow you to do everything you want to do, run the business 50-50. He's not only going to put his own money into the business, he's also going to wake up, roll his sleeves up, and pick up the shovel and dig. That's what you're asking him to do. Fair enough. Sure, I absolutely agree. Yes, fair enough. He's gonna wake up. He's gonna go in and say, "Here is my money. Here, you can have it." Not only am I gonna give you my money, right? It's like the bank. It's like you going to the bank and saying, "I want to build this house. This is my future house. I'm going to build this house, and I'm going to build this apartment complex." Let me speak my language here. I'm going to go to the bank and tell the bank, "I want to build an apartment complex. I'm going to make 12% profit on this. But I'm upset with you because you as the bank, you refuse to wake up every morning and come and manage these contractors out here with me because you gave me the money, yes, but you still got to get your head into the sand and start digging with me too." How? What's the bank going to say? The bank's going to say I'm crazy, right?
Yeah, that is true. But I'm not that situation.
But you are, though. It is the same thing.
To you.
No, not to me. I'm just being honest. This is reality, right? Because again, I'm telling you what 99% of men. Go ahead.
I believe that you're being honest with how you feel.
Okay.
And I understand that, but your comparisons are not exactly the same as my situation.
Tell me how my comparisons are off.
Because it's not the same thing.
How?
It's really not the same thing. I'm not a bank. I'm not a state. And you're saying he's putting his money and then he's ready to work. And I manage and clean and maintain our house and give my time and manage the business with him at the same time. Our efforts are not the same. He puts in the money, yes, but my effort is greater, and that makes up for the money that he's putting in. It's not exactly.
You put in 51% of the profit of the work. He puts in 49%. Is that what you're saying?
Another thing that people know is that the business, I didn't ask for my share of the profit. Then I haven't for the entirety of the relationship. I haven't.
Who paid the bills in the house?
He does. And because I understand, I don't want people to see me as someone who always just complains and is being unfair. I try to give him what I could give, the effort, the time, and everything. And on top of that, I didn't really ask for the profit, even though we were both working, and I was actually working more in the business. And
ma'am, I had a question. You said he paid for all the bills in the house, right?
Yeah.
What did you pay for?
Well, occasional dinners and dates and stuff like that.
Occasional dinners. So if the business made $100,000 a year and the bills in the house were $20,000 a year, that's 20% of the money the business makes, right? How much do you think your occasional dinners and dates was?
Maybe a quarter of that.
So $5,000. And then if you had to pay expenses for a business, usually expenses on a business is 50%, right? So that's $50,000. He invested his money into the business. He's not getting any return on his money.
He is. We're starting.
What return is he getting? Sure. It's okay. Hey, listen, this is how I put it this way, right? This is just you and I talking. No one is watching. This is just us, right? The reason I like this is I love to do this. I love to do this, right? But not only do I like to do this, I also find it intriguing because in a lot of ways, people miss something. And this is what people miss. People miss the fact that sometimes what you want is already been given to you. And when what you want has been given to you, a lot of us now go back and say, I want this. I want this. Not knowing they've always had it. Let me give you an example. So it's public knowledge. My mother, I was raised by a single mother. Okay. My mother never married my father. My mother always had an expectation of the kind of man she wanted. And she died in 2019 without ever having any man in her life. The reason is because my mom always had expectation of a certain type of man.
Yeah.
Right. And unfortunately, that man does not exist. My mom and I had this conversation when she was 70 years old. And I said, what? I said, Mom, I think you should find someone. She says, if he doesn't make $1 million a year, I'm not interested. Yeah. And I said, Mom, I'm sorry, you are delusional. And I'll tell you, I'm not saying that to you. What I'm saying is, I asked you, I said, what does this guy get? A guy who is in the 1%, right? He's in the 1%. He doesn't get to sleep with other women, right? He gets restrictions from you. He not only does he not get restrictions from you, he doesn't get to sleep with other women. He also gets no patience. So he's now probably walking on eggshells. And then if that guy happens to ignore all those things that you would not deal with, and in the process of the conversation and process of getting to know you, he says, I don't care that she's not concerned with if I don't care that she's not patient with me. I can deal with a woman who nags at me all the time. I don't care if, she resents me for doing her part in a relationship, because his part is to bring the finance. Now, it would be different if you said, hey, we need $100,000 to run a business. He brought $50,000. I brought $50,000. We both brought $100,000 to the table, and I expect work from both of us. That's not what you said. You said he brought the money, I brought the work. But then I resent him for making me do the work and not paying me anything for it.
No, I didn't resent him. I just said, because you asked me, I did all the work. I didn't resent him. And I didn't say I resent him.
You don't have to say you resent him. Your actions said that, man.
No.
You don't have to say that. If you get frustrated with the smallest things, the things you told me that he did, anyone will be lucky to have a man who did those things. And that was his bad part.
No, that is not right. What I resented him for, because all of those things that I did for him, I did it and I was happy doing those. And I was never resentful for things that I did, but I resented things that he did that I asked him.
What were those things? You said the things he did were physical advances.
Yeah.
Which is his way of showing affection. That's
and I know affection. And he has shown affection, which I appreciate. Because the thing is, you're not in our house.
I understand. I understand. I'm not saying I know what happened behind closed doors, right? What I'm saying is,
say that you're saying. That is what you have been doing for
No.
I don't know, 30 minutes.
Not at all. Not at all. All I'm trying to tell you is this: is if you're asking for a certain type of person, right? I'm going based on your words, ma'am. Nothing that I'm not saying anything. I'm not assuming anything. You said you are not patient, right?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
If you are not patient,
not that I'm not patient with him. I'm not a patient
person in general. I get that. So if you are naturally not a patient person,
can you still see me?
I'm sorry.
Can you still see me?
No, it's frozen, by the way.
Because I have a software update. Are we back?
Yeah. Sure. Okay. No, what I was saying is this, right? Is if you are not a patient person naturally, that's fair. That's your personality type, right? And then hear what I said. What I said is a person looks past the impatient personality type that you have, right? Looks past that, brings his resources. I am not saying this guy is perfect. I don't know your relationship with him. It doesn't. I cannot assume to that. Nobody is perfect. But what I'm saying is a man brought his resources and you couldn't make the sacrifice.
I did.
Hold on. If he made a sacrifice of moving his whole life to you, right? 55 years in a place to make the end of his life. If this man lives to 80, he spent way more than half of his life in a different place, right? Fair enough. If this man lived till he's 80 years old, he spent at least 55 of those years in a new country, in his home or wherever his home country is. He only maybe has 25 left. Okay, so if somebody's coming in where he has less than 25 years left to live, and he's saying, "I'm going to spend those 25 years with you," they're just like you. It's like I said earlier. I said you're 30, you're 36, I'm 39. We're already at the point in our lives where we have expectations on the kind of person that we want to be with, right? And we are also stuck in our ways. So imagine a man who's 55. If at 39 I'm stuck in my ways and you're 36, you're stuck in your ways, you're dealing with someone who's almost twice your age. More stuck in his ways. So when you're coming in and you're giving him a whole different perspective of what he expected, that's all I'm telling you. I'm not saying that I was in your house and I think that this is what happened, this is what not happened. What I'm saying is the next guy that comes in, what is he going to get? I've not heard you say you're going to give this man a family. Right? He's not getting a family, so he doesn't get a legacy. He doesn't get anything after this. It says this is it. It stops here. When I said, what are you going to give him? What I was expecting to hear is, I'm going to give this man a family. I'm going to give him a legacy. I'm going to allow him to continue. $10,000 a month, $20,000 a month is absolutely nothing if you're 60 years old and you have nobody to spend it on. If you have no kids, no wife, nobody. If it's just you and that money, as a man, maybe you could spend on a bunch of prostitutes, right? Or you can screw it away or go to the strip club and throw it in the air. Fine, that's what a man might do. But what's the woman going to do with it? What are you going to do with 10 grand a month coming in every month and you got no one to spend it on? How many Gucci purses can you possibly own at 70? At 80? Who cares about all those things, right? How much? Look at what's going on with Jeff Bezos' ex-wife, right? She has $42 billion at her disposal and she can't get rid of it fast enough. She's giving this thing away like it's candy. $100 million here, $1 million here. She wants to give money away to everybody because she can't do nothing with it. So money has zero value the older you get in life. What becomes more valuable are the things somebody can bring to you. And you're not even offering that. You never said you're going to give this person a kid. You never said you're going to give. Instead, what you say is, man, I get to clean the house. I get to do all this work. I agree. It's hard work.
Yeah.
But.
Yeah, I'm sorry. Well, I'm not going to say I'm going to give him kids or a family because not only am I not going to give it to him, it doesn't bring him value because he doesn't want that anymore. He's divorced and with 5 kids in the past from the past marriage. So it doesn't, if I offered it to him, it doesn't really have as much value to him.
So, ma'am, what are you going to give this man outside of a headache?
Oh my God, I'm not a headache.
Well, I mean, just being honest. I mean, just listen to what you said. You have no patience. You don't want to deal with. You don't want someone who is going to.
Yeah, those are. Come on, Dr. Love. Those are normal. But you're only understanding what you want to understand. That I'm headache. That's what you have perceived me as.
No, I can't perceive you as anything that somebody doesn't tell me. For example, right? I'm never going to sit up here and say, "Go ahead."
Offer. Now that you're asking me what I actually really offer.
Okay, so what do you have to offer?
It's a relationship. It's affection as well. Yes, there are boundaries, but I offered affection. I took care of him. When he was in danger, I was the one who actually, I didn't save his life. The hospital did. But, when he didn't buy a dog, I'm a real partner. That's what I want you to understand, Dr. Love. I'm a real partner.
But you hate. But you have an issue with the most important part. This is the thing. In life, there's only 3 things everyone can give people, right? Mm-hmm. The first thing is patience.
Mm-hmm. And I did. I'm not a patient person, but I was patient with him.
Okay. The second thing a man can do is protection for a woman, right? Patience, protection, right? And then there's one more P that a man must do. So there's 3 P's that every man must always provide, and that's provision. Protection, provision, and patience. Those are the 3 requirements every man has. A woman doesn't have to worry about the protection or the patience part, but a woman has to provide the provision part. But she has to provide to the relationship 1, patience, loyalty, and more than anything, she also has to be able to give this guy a legacy or a hope of a legacy. You're not giving this guy any of the 3.
From you said has to. Not everybody wants that.
But how do you know he didn't want that, ma'am?
Huh?
How do you know he didn't want that?
Okay, you said how do I know he didn't want that?
Yes.
He did, because he had 5 children. And he's divorced, and he did say it to me, which you're only asking me now.
I know I'm saying the legacy part, but the patience, and the.
How could assume that I didn't have patience?
You said that. That's what you said. You said you didn't have patience.
I didn't. You got that wrong again. And you have been having it wrong right from the very beginning. I'm not a patient person. That's what I said. Okay. If you have something of this conversation, look back. I said I'm not a patient person.
Absolutely.
I was patient, and that is why I stuck around for 1 year, because I wanted him to be a better person. And he actually tells people that I made him a better person. And I'm glad, because, I am proud of what he's becoming. But there is a time, and I have my own limit as well. It's difficult. I was trying to, meet him halfway.
Okay.
And he kind of changing a little bit, but it was just a little bit too much. I didn't treat it like that, and I have been telling him that. I wasn't just telling him, I wasn't just telling him, you cannot touch me, you cannot touch it, you cannot do this. I was telling him how to better do it, how to deal with me better, so we can meet halfway. It wasn't just complaining.
Ma'am,
it was not.
I understand. I agree. Okay, I agree.
So
take a deep breath. I don't think you're a bad person at all. I don't think I have no prejudgments. I put it this way: I don't judge people, and because I'm in no position to do so. All I can do is make 2 things: opinion and assumptions. Right? I can speak to facts based on research, but I can only make opinions and assumptions. I can never judge you because I don't know enough about you to do so.
Yeah, that is right. So, but how I feel all throughout the conversation. And I understand that you have your own take on things being a man. I understand that. And I always try to understand because men and women are different. And I always try to put myself in someone else's shoes. But I have my limits as well. I
So
try.
let me ask you this. Let me ask you this. Do you want to date men or do you want to date women?
I want to date men.
Okay. If you want to date men, would you hold on? We let's go back to the beginning of our conversation. You said two things were important to you. Financial, right?
Mm-hmm.
And understanding.
Mm-hmm.
I remember that very well. So if two things were important to you, financial and understanding, don't you think it's important for you to understand men in order for you to be with men?
I did.
Okay.
I didn't say I did. And
okay, hold on. So you were in a relationship with a man. So let's backtrack, okay? Remember, at the end of the day, this is not a feeling for me. I can't have any feeling towards something that I have no skin in the game on. Because at the end of this conversation, you will take from this what you feel is valuable to yourself. And the rest you throw away. And you continue your life however way the direction you want it to go. Nothing changes with mine. Hopefully something changes with yours. So the way I'm always going to be honest, even though sometimes it might sting a little bit. What I'm saying is this. If you came and you said, if I came to you and I said, what business did you guys start?
It's the bar. It's a small bar.
Small bar. Okay, good. So I presume you know about liquors. If I come to your business and I said, hi, I'm sorry?
I actually don't.
Oh, I mean, I'm just going to say, for the sake of argument, I come in and I say, what's the best bar in Pattaya? What would you tell me? If you own the bar, would you not recommend your bar?
That's ours. Yeah.
So the reason I say that is because you would presume that your bar is the best bar. So in the same breath, you understand your business well enough to recommend your business. I understand men well enough to say, if you have a certain kind of dynamic to you, this is the reason why this happens from a man's perspective. So let's go back to this whole conversation. You were with a man who spent 55 years of his life with somebody else. You had to learn how things work from somebody else's perspective. He came over to you, and what he got, and I know I said it before, and it's you don't have to take this personal. I don't mean to be insulting, but really what he got was a headache because he got something completely opposite than what he bargained for. One, he got told how to run a business in your way, not in the way he expected. But even though it was his investment dollars, he still got told how to run the business. His money, your approach. That's what you told me. Two, you built a certain type of resentment because of the way he communicated with you. Stop me if I'm wrong here, because this is the things you told me, okay? So you built a certain type of resentment because of the way he communicated with you, neglecting that this person made a life-altering decision that required for you to have patience that might take 2 to 3 years for you both to adjust to each other's way of life. I'm not stupid enough. So when this conversation happens, it's never personal. It's never, oh, you're bad or look at what you did. It has nothing to do with that. This is just reality. This is just what somebody's feeding to me and me saying, okay, this is what, from a perspective of someone who has been through both sides, this is what I see. So what I see is if you want to have a future with somebody of that kind of caliber of person, someone who can take care of you, who is completely okay with not having a legacy. That's what this guy sounds like, because he's already built a legacy. So he's giving you a break on one of the 3 things I mentioned. I said there's 3 things you can give: patience, legacy, and loyalty. He gives you patience, provision, and protection. If you can give him 2 of those things and he's letting you off the hook on the 3rd one, all you have to do is give him those 2. You have it easy. Nothing changes in your lifestyle. And then you get to adjust, because that's what relationships are. Hey, I'm with the person who has had this type of a lifestyle for 55 years. I'm 36. You've probably had, I'm going to assume you had your first relationship at 21. Or when did you have your first relationship?
No. Ashley had my relationship when I was already 30.
Your first relationship?
32.
You had your very first relationship at 32. Okay.
Yeah.
So imagine that. You've only had 4 years of relationship experience. You could, yeah, okay, I get it. You take it personal. What you don't understand is relationships are an investment, man. It's an investment in your life.
No.
It's way more of an investment than a bank would be. I think when I compared you to a bank, you should have been like, wow, that's actually a good analogy. A bank is an investment building. What a bank does is sell you products from a checking account, a savings account, whatever business that they offer that they would make money from. That's what a bank does. And that's what you should be doing. You should have a relationship that is going to ensure that your future is secure. That when you're 50, 60, 70 years old, you don't have to wake up every morning and work, because the man you were with and yourself, you made good decisions together. You built a legacy, you built financial standings for yourself, and now you guys can live a much easier life when you're older. That's an investment. So as a bank, as an investment, you have to look and say, what am I investing in here? What am I getting out of this? How am I supposed to get a return on my money if I'm putting my money in the wrong place? And right now, 55-year-old guy don't seem like he really put his money in the right place. So what do you want the next guy to do? I mean, what did he get out of it? He didn't get a return on his money. His money's not coming back to him.
He's getting so much more.
From the business?
He is. Because
but you said these guys are no longer together, and you were doing all the work.
All of the questions that you've asked me so far were leading to you assuming. You said you didn't have assumptions. You totally did. You have from the very beginning.
So you guys are broken up and you're running the business still?
From the very beginning.
You guys are broken up and you're running the business still?
I'm sorry?
And you guys are broken up, but you're still running the business?
Well, we are going to talk about it.
Talk about it.
We are going to talk about it.
And I've done this long enough. I don't have to make assumptions. All I'm telling you is fact. Because there's no way this is an assumption. If I put my money in a business that you are running or my ex-wife is running.
Not a business. You can't treat me just like an investment.
A relationship is an investment. We just agreed with that 5 seconds ago, didn't we?
Investments are different. Investments in relationships are different from investments in business.
Investments are investments. Investments are investments. Okay, hold on. I'll end with this because I see we're not going to get to a meeting ground here. I'll end with this. What does every investment get at the end?
I'm sorry, what?
What does every investment get at the end? What's the reason for an investment?
Why? And he did.
Okay.
And
so hold on. So
I didn't give him anything, and just had it.
Fine. Let's assume it's in my head. So now let me ask you this: if his investment is supposed to give him a return, and for some reason you guys are no longer together, you can no longer run the business, right? Because remember, you're doing all the work, you're doing everything. Yeah. He's not doing anything, according to you. But there's a business that he has his money in it, and you as the worker who agreed to do the work while he brings the money stops doing the work. How does that business still make money, man? How is there a return?
How is there a return? I'm working from
something that no one is ever working on.
I didn't stop working.
But how okay? So you want him to keep you on and still invest in you so what you're saying is this: you don't want the relationship anymore. You want to treat this guy like crap. You want to treat him the way you think you should treat him. But hold on, but in the same breath, you still want to be able to run his business and his money.
I do not know where you're getting it from.
That's what you just said. I asked the question.
You said that. You were
That's
putting.
the question. I said, who's going to run the business? You said you guys would talk about that.
Where did that come from? Where did that come from?
Who's going to run the business?
Where did that come from? That's
Who's
my
going to
question.
run the business?
Oh, where did that come from?
Okay,
That's
so
not
who's
very,
going to run the business?
that's not very smart of you.
No, I'm asking the question. It's who's going to run the business?
I see you now, and I'm not going to stay in this conversation. You are assumptuous, presumptuous, and you're rude.
All right. Well, man, I'm going to wish you a good day. I think at 36, if you want to have a relationship, I don't have a problem continuing this conversation. I'll have this conversation by myself. Because at 36 years old, folks, you see this crazy shit? This crazy broad literally came on here, had a guy at 55 years old who would literally spend all his money on her, invest his money on her, and then she proceeds to talk about how she's impatient with him, how he should have never kissed her when she didn't want him to kiss her. I mean, you saw the nerve on this broad? And then she wants someone who's making $10,000 a month to show up and be with her? Man, I'm out of this. This is, man, y'all like, subscribe, share. This is some crazy shit, man.